Hello, it's good to have you join us again for your favorite program. This is Close Flow coming to you from NTA2 Lagos Network Center. Our delight always, because we know that you are out there waiting patiently for us to, unveil yet another distinguished Nigerian who is going to be sharing with us some very passionate experiences on how we are sweetly, nicely, efficiently, professionally managing our country. Today again, we are back to what we refer to, or what is commonly called, the Center of Excellence in Nigeria. Everybody believes this is the hub of economic activities, not only in Nigeria, but in the whole of the West African sub-region. We are saying here that this is perhaps right now, a few years back, we are saying the second largest city in Africa, but now I think by current statistics, we are probably going to be looking at the very largest city in the whole of Africa. And what are we dealing with here? We are going to be looking at or reviewing how a state will be losing almost 4 trillion naira every day because of traffic congestion. We are going to be examining how each and every one of us actually we are participating or we're contributing to the fact that traffic in this state can eat up to 14 hours every day. We are also going to be looking at the fact that, so how many vehicles do we have plying or navigating through this Center of Excellence? And of course, we have with us our guest, who is going to be explaining to us the strategies or the strategic deployment of how to manage the situation in this state. We are looking at the new parking laws being already enacted by the Lagos State government on how we can manage our lives better in Lagos State. And when we move from Lagos, we are looking at how that can affect the whole of Nigeria. So again, you're welcome to Close Flow, and we have our guest with us. He's seated already. I'm not going to disclose who he is until we come back. And don't forget, I always say to you that this conversation is about you. You are a Nigerian, you are a Lagosian, and therefore you have every reason to take ownership, to be responsible on how this country is being managed. So we have our telephone lines dedicated, one for your voice calls, the other for your SMS and WhatsApp messages, because we usually experience drop calls, so we've made provision for you to say, okay, either you make a voice call or you send us a message. This is very important, especially for this edition of the program, because you're going to be, as it were, interacting with the officer who is here to speak to us on how we are managing our traffic and parking experiences in Lagos. So stay with us. We shall be back shortly.
Experience unlimited superfast internet access from Intel 4G. Intel. Live more. Hey beautiful, your eyes, your smile are all begging me to take you home tonight.
Now reading page 3.
Experience unlimited superfast internet access from Intel 4G. Intel. Live.
Thank you for staying with us. This is Close Flow from NTA2 Lagos Network Center. In the studio with us, we have an engineer, an experienced civil servant, a director in the ministry in charge of what we are going to be discussing here today. I have with me engineer Olatunde Labaji Omotosho. Yes. You're welcome to Close Flow.
Thank you.
Okay, let's start from the engineering, spectrum. So what are we dealing with here? We are saying Lagos State Parking Agents. What are you supposed to be managing?
Actually, we are Lagos State Parking Authority,
Yes.
and our job is to ensure that parking is now done in a proper way, in a regulated way, in such a way that people don't park anyhow. We have a lot of, people outside and touts who just find a space along the road to park some vehicles, and even individual vehicle owners who just,
On their own.
decide to park anywhere, even at a junction, talking with people, putting goods in their boots, and so on and so forth. So we are here to change that culture. So we need to change that culture to a more responsible, regulated parking system.
Now, for all of us watching from all over the world, I think you have you're brought into that preface of what we're dealing with here. We need to change that culture.
Sorry.
Now, engineer, how are we going to change this culture? Especially, you have mentioned some critical elements, touts, some road users.
Yes.
How do we need to reorientate them? How do we need to re-educate them? How do we want to share this information with them?
Well, firstly, I want to say that Lagos State is peculiar in the sense that we have over 2.5 million vehicles in this state, and about 125 vehicles per kilometer. So the road is quite enough to carry us, except there are some impediments on those roads that is causing congestion. So back to your question, how do we want to do it? Well, we have what we call parking management system. It's a tool whereby we segregate what is going to be parking on the road and what is going to be parking off road. So and there are some restrictions where you cannot park for the safety of
Road users,
and especially the pedestrians.
Okay, now let's come back to the street level.
Yes.
Because now parking, okay, let's look at such hot spots as churches, mosques, where events are taking place, and people just generally, we probably just load up on the road to attend those events. How are we going to deploy? Are you going to strategically say, okay, you cannot park here in this church, or you cannot park in that mosque, or you cannot park at this event center?
Well, when I say restrictions on our roads, it doesn't mean that it is everywhere they cannot park. Now, let's take, for example, junctions.
Major junctions, intersections.
Intersections. We have, we must give about 20 meters before and after every intersections because of safety. A vehicle might be coming at a faster speed, and you are going, at a kind of 90 degree to that, and there could be accidents. So that's number one. Number two, entrances and exits. We have to give allowances. If you are coming out from your office, and it's going into a major road, and a vehicle coming faster, so if a vehicle is parked near your gate, there's tendency that you might not see that vehicle when coming, and that's accidents. So we are going to give restrictions before and after entrances, before and after pedestrian crossings, before and after intersections.
I like that. Now, okay, let's look at commercial road users, transporters.
Yes.
That is a very peculiar thing in Lagos because of the crowd and the movement of people in Lagos.
Yes.
So how are you going to manage them? Because often at bus stops or terminals, they just don't know anything about parking. I mean,
there's a big challenge to be candid. With the commercial vehicles. It's not only me alone, but our experiences have shown that commercial vehicles are very hard to control, and they do things as if
they own the government.
They own the government, and they own the road. That they could do anything they want. Imagine, a commercial driver just stopping at the entrance of a petrol station while other people are trying to go in, or at a junction when other vehicles are trying to come in, or just stop on the road just to pick passengers. All sort of, violations are being carried out by these commercial vehicles. Now, firstly, what I observe is this, which everybody can attest to it, that commercial vehicles do load on the road, on the street, loading instead of their garage.
Yes.
In so many
Locations.
Areas. Yes. So now, and they said they pay, they pay the union. So
some kind of dues.
Dues. So what are they actually gaining from the union? So, and most of the garages, you will notice. You notice is that they are owned by the state government. You understand?
Yes.
So now what happens is this: why can't the union, buy properties and turn into garages so that these people can move off the road into that garage and park properly, load and disembark people, properly. But meanwhile, be it as it may be, we are going to sit down with the leadership of the union, and we are going to come to an agreement.
Yes, on how this is going to be managed.
Exactly.
Okay, Engineer Laba Engineer Motorshop. One thing again that I'm not too sure about will be this. Now, it has been reported, I don't know how that is true, that over 4 trillion will be accounted for as losses in Lagos every year because of
Congestion.
road congestion.
Yeah.
How pathetic is that?
Yeah, congestion is a very bad thing for the society.
state. Yes.
So now what happens is this, one of the impediments, or probably a greater impediment, is this unregulated parking.
Yes. Yes.
Now, our mandate is to ensure that there's a free flow of traffic. If we remove all these impediments,
yes,
and they are properly packed.
Yes.
Now, we guarantee access to developments, here and there.
As a spillover.
Yeah. Now, because of congestion, you have, loss in
commercial activities.
Loss in that time.
Yes.
More travel time.
Yes.
And of course, you economically you lose a lot of things.
Yes.
So you can see that it is actually giving us a serious headache in the state. Now, regulated parking also is good for the society, in the sense that we reduce emissions, because looking for parking space is no longer there. We try to, as much as possible, pilot road users or motorists,
yes,
to where they can park as quickly as possible at a fair rate. Now, it's good. I mean, like I said, it's good for the environment because of the emission. It's good for the economy,
yes,
because many people can get to their marketplace or to their offices much faster.
Okay. All right. Something I like that you said at the beginning was a question of safety. Now, so when we are looking at safety, how strategic is this parking regulation now? How strategic is it to your master plan on how Lagos is being managed to becoming a smart city? How is there any correlation? Is there any linkage? Is there any forward-looking plan that all these are linked together?
Okay. You see, parking regulations, stems from the system of parking management. Now, firstly, we need to find among all the rules which one is qualified for on-street parking.
I like that.
Because not all the rules are qualified for on-street parking.
So you have to identify first.
Now, on-street parking, you must park parallel to the road, facing the direction of traffic. So, if
you cannot park diagonally.
No. I'm saying on-street parking,
okay,
on the road.
Okay.
Now, if there's a carriageway and you are going this way,
Yes.
you must park on that road facing that traffic. That traffic. Now, internationally, the width of a parking slot is about 2.5 meters. Now, for most of the roads, if you remove 2.5 meters from the carriageway, what is remaining may not be enough for other traffic.
Yes.
So that road is not good for on-street parking.
Okay.
But there are roads, and plenty of them, that are probably 10 meters, even 9 meters wide, that you can manage to remove 2.5 and park, and all that traffic to and fro on that
Will not be affected.
on that carriageway will not be affected. So that is number one. And in doing that, we need to collaborate with the Ministry of Physical Planning and
Yes,
Development,
yes.
and of course, Ministry of Works and Infrastructure.
Now, okay, you have identified on-street parking.
Yes.
Now, how about off-street parking?
Yeah.
Now, yes, okay, let's go.
There's also off-street parking. Off-street parking involve setbacks, which is adequate enough for parking that will not actually disturb any on-street or any traffic.
Other activity, yes.
Now, that's number one. Number two is parking lots. We have parking lots that they are on-ground parking lots and multi-level parking lots. And this is why we are actually appealing to investors to actually invest in this business so that we can have more off-street parking, especially ground parking and multi-level parkings.
Now, that's brilliant. I must tell you, engineer, that's quite brilliant. Now, so as a captive window, economic window, now, so you are now inviting Nigerians to come and invest in this
Business.
yes, this business of well. Now, okay, let's look at part of other developments that we are trying to engage in, to boost the economy, especially in Lagos. As far as we are concerned, by 2016, we are saying that about 200,000 commercial vehicles transit Lagos. That's 2016, that's about almost 6 years ago.
Exactly.
I'm sure it must be about 10 times that now.
Exactly.
So how are you going to deploy your men? Do you have the kind of capacity to deploy your men to manage this?
Of course, we have the capacity. The authority is developing. It was established, just last year.
Yes.
About some few months ago, and we've had enough time to do our foundational, to address our foundational issues, because we just don't want to barge into the road and start saying,
do this, do that.
You did park well. No. You see, we are taking our time in such a way that people, the public, will be aware of exactly what we are doing. Advocacy, in form of sensitization and all that. So we need to actually tell people, sensitize people, this is what is coming up, and this is what we want you to do.
Yes.
We appeal to them. We monitor it. Then we ensure compliance. And if you prove stubborn, we enforce. And then, if there's any violation, then you pay the fine.
Let's come to the penalties now. So, are the penalties so heavy? Are they frightening, or are they something we can all of us can live with? What kind of penalties are we looking at?
I must tell you that if the penalties are so small, anybody can say, okay, let me park anywhere I want. After all,
it's only 1,000 naira.
It's 3,000 naira. I'll just pay, no problem. That kind of. No, you see, the penalty is a deterrent. We will ensure. I cannot tell you how much now, but we will ensure that if you are caught once, you won't like to do it again.
I like that. Okay, well, on social media is trending or is being shared, whether rightly or incorrectly, that you have about 80 different offenses that you can be, held responsible for, that you can be punished for, especially in Lagos if you are parking wrongly or you're not parking appropriately. Now, do we have that kind of number? Are we looking at 80 different incidences where you can...
No.
So that is actually false information.
No. It's not 80. but there are quite a number of it. You know, because we're dealing with parking here, we are limited to just parking. You know,
Okay.
Though you know it might be other traffic offences.
Yes.
But we are limited to
Just parking. I like
So,
that.
Now, if you park wrongly, after everything has been labelled, don't park here.
And you now go ahead
No
and park
parking.
there.
And you park there, then you violate our regulations, and you'll be punished for that.
Okay, now, I like that again. That is a clarification. There are other traffic regulations,
Of course,
you know,
yes.
besides, but you are specifically looking at parking and how to manage that. Now, I would like to go back to what you mentioned again about safety. So how many of these roads are we now going to find a way to graduate so that they can have the kind of space for people to park if you're going to assign, you know, such street for parking? And for how long do you think we can do that, knowing how quickly Lagos is developing?
Well, let me tell you that Lagos State has about 9,292 roads.
Motorable roads? Or
Motorable.
just
Well,
9,000?
motorable, yes.
Wow.
So now, a good percentage of this is good for on-street parking. But we are not going to just start all over like that. You know, we decided to do a pilot scheme using Victoria Land and Ikeja, you know, areas
Yes.
for this first phase. You know, as we speak, you know, we've gone around to do enumerations and all that. We've gone around to do the kind of lane marking we are going to do.
Yes.
We've gone around to do where the signages should
Should be placed, yes.
So we are moving. We are moving. And I can tell you that within Ikeja and Victoria Land alone, we're having about 60 routes that we're going to do.
60?
Yes.
Between Ikeja and
Victoria Land.
okay. Right now, already earmarked.
Exactly. So we are going to do 60, and we are going to put signages to those roads that you cannot park on streets, that no on-street parking here. Otherwise, people will start running to those roads. You understand?
Yes.
You know, trying to avoid where you want
You already have placed
you
your
pay some,
yes.
You know, so they run to those roads and they park there. So we are going to place no parking zone or no parking on these streets on those roads.
Okay.
So if you park there, you're on your own.
Okay, now I hope our viewers are locking into this because this is very critical, particularly when you're a commercial road user. You may want to get properly educated and informed, you know, on what is going on here. Now, something else again that we need to probably address would be the question of, we have looked at the commercial road users, but how about private car owners? Just like you said, who might want to take some things for granted, just that. So how do we?
Well, it surprises me actually. You know, I expect the private car owners to be more enlightened and
better disposed.
and better disposed. You know, and not wanting to do what
It's illegal.
illegal. So I think we will be able to handle private car owners better than the commercial.
You seriously think so?
Yeah, I seriously think so because, you know, with this enlightenment, with this sensitization, you know, a reasonable person will actually do what is right. You know, when you know that where you park, you know, is wrong, not only wrong for you, wrong for the other road users, and it's not safe for anybody. So, I mean, why should you park there? I mean, we have to be reasonable and responsible. You understand?
I like that. So, engineer is saying to us that we have a responsibility here. It is not just about the law, it's also about how we live our lives and to be sure that we are not actually affecting the lives of others. Now, let's come back to how you are going to deploy your men to be able to handle this. Are we going to be looking at what we have with LASPA, with LOMA, with are we going to having volunteers on the street who are going to be, helping you to now effect and implement these obligations? So how do you want to do it?
Like I said, we have the capacity to
Be on the street, to man the street.
to monitor it, to enforce compliance. Our men will be on the streets to actually, correct people.
Not necessarily to arrest.
Not necessarily to arrest. But when you prove stubborn, you're either clamped or you are being told.
You are either clamped or you're told.
So, and we are going to face, punitive measures for that. Yes, there are cases or there are reports that some of the agencies go on the streets and collect money from road users.
Well, for offenders.
From the offenders. Now, that's why we put it as a principle that no, in the Lagos State Parking Authority, no cash will exchange hands. Even if you want to pay for your parking, it's electronically done.
Wow.
Now, all our enforcement men will be wearing a T-shirt, something like this.
Okay.
Now, what happens is this, but the one they are going to wear on the
street, yes,
is going to have a QR code
on it.
So, because a lot of people can sew this cloth and go out and start collecting money. So, if you are enlightened, you can take
that QR code.
You can take that QR code and see its authenticity.
Authenticate it
yes.
Right on with your phone.
Exactly. So it's very simple.
Please, can we say that again so that our viewers can lock into that? So on the shirt.
On the shirt.
Yes.
There's going to be a QR code.
Yes.
Which you can authenticate if that person is fake or real.
Great. Okay. All right. So you are getting to see how very, very smart the Lagos Parking Authority already is looking at how to manage the situation. Now, do you have a strategic master plan on what you want to do? Maybe that is looking at the next 2 years, the next 3 years, the next 4 years, because development is evolving. So, do we have a strategic master plan for parking authority?
Of course, when the authority was established, I said that we are dealing with some foundational issues, majorly planning. Because without planning, you can't go far. So we know exactly.
Yes, if you don't plan, then you are planning to fail.
So we know the kind of technology we are going to deploy.
Okay.
And globally, we know what is happening. So we try to do the same thing, but in our own way, not necessarily copying it. So, for example, we want to start with QR code payments. Pay by plates,
yes.
Because we have the database with probably the BIS, with motor vehicle administration agencies, even not to reach.
Yes,
yes. They have the database, so we can make use of that, for the parking as a parking management system.
Yes.
For our use. Now, also, we have a way of dealing with the motorist in such a way that they can be traced.
Yes.
If they violate.
Yes.
Because there are some, you see some. I know there will be challenges, but you see some that they will just refuse to pay.
And just drive off.
Yeah, and just drive off. So yeah, with their plate number, at least 70% of them or 80% of them can
be traced. Okay, now. Let's reassure members of the public of what you are really all about. Now, you have mentioned safety, you have mentioned security, you have mentioned the fact that all of us need to be law-abiding, you need to be, responsible citizens. Now, aside from that, one other issue that you touched is about health in terms of emission coming from, but how much can you how much regulation can you actually, enforce on that?
Now, well, it's not a matter of enforcing as far as mission is concerned. What I'm saying is this, regulated parking actually reduces emission. Because, for example, when you get into Victoria Island, you want to do a business in one office, their parking lot is filled. Then you have to look for where to park.
Yes.
See, that travel time,
Yes.
that you are looking for parking, you are emitting.
Yes.
And our job is to ensure that straight away you are taken to where you can park without actually looking for parking spaces.
Meandering around, yes.
It's either you park on the streets, which is numbered,
Yes.
or you are directed to a parking
lot,
either multi-story level or grand parking.
Okay, all right. We must thank Engineer Labanji, Motor Shop, for the smart way he has responded to some of these issues. We're going to take a break now. We'll take a breather. When we come back, it will be time for you to now interact with him, to ask him, straight on, 360 degrees. Don't dodge any issue. Ask him right on what you think may not be right with some of these regulations the parking authority will probably be rolling out. The numbers again, let me quickly run them through you so that you can take down the numbers for you to talk. You have SMS 08063503434. That is your SMS. And then for our WhatsApp, 08020384130. But for voice call, I wonder if I should just say that, because again, we always experience drop calls. But for voice call, just in case you want to hear engineer, or motor shop clearly, then call this number 070-1627-2025. So you can then, talk with him. We'll take a break now, and then we'll come back shortly.
We must dilate the eyes, we look for if they have cataract, look at the back of their eyes, they have glaucoma, we do a full workup for them.
You will remember
government
the
should
giant
actually
strike they will
open their
make
eyes,
them.
especially
You will remember
south,
with
west of the
nostalgia.
We're going to be looking deeper than we ever looked in before to ensure that we close all the loopholes.
Every edition is an arresting conversation with distinguished Nigerians from various strata of the society, bearing their minds on how we can realize the Nigeria of our dreams. Join us live on Close Flow, Monday, every week here on NTA2 Lagos Network Center. Close Flow. The conversation is about you.
Thank you for staying with us. I'm sure that many of us are quite eager to speak with the engineer Motor Shaw, and he's also very ready. You can see that he's very passionate about what is happening. He's saying to you that the Lagos Parking Authority is not just about jokes. He's even mentioned just before we went on that break the need to cut down on emission. That is the need for all of us to be sure that we live healthily in the city in spite of the crowd. Now, let me come back to you now. So, how many times can I escape? If I offend the first time, I disappear. I'll do it the second time, I disappear. How many times do you think I can run away from you guys?
Well, I think with this sensitization, and we start the process of enforcement, if we are caught once, we are done.
There's no escape.
No escape. Because we've already told you
what not to do.
And not only that, the rules are marked.
Clearly.
No parking. Before entrance and after entrance, you have a cross showing that in this area you cannot park there. So, what should we do?
Okay, so let's come back to the difficult areas, especially markets, malls. These are, how busy those locations can be. So what arrangement are you making? Are you going to have built-in parking lots, or would the roads be demarcated?
Well, to be candid, any development that is going to attract traffic during the construction, they should have done what we call traffic impact assessment to ensure.
Can you say that again, please, for the benefit of our viewers?
Now,
any development
during the construction, they ought to have done what we call traffic impact assessment. This will ensure that parking is no longer a problem, because they can only park the number of vehicles that is assigned, that is allocated, that is
planned for. I like that.
You understand? So now, if there's a spillover, then the customer will have to
make alternative.
Go on street, go multi-story level, go setback. And in any case, if there's a lot of setback in front of that mall, of that premises, they can buy it over. I said, look, this space, we are buying it from you, then our customers or staff can park there. And we will not allow any other person
to park there.
We'll give you a paper that the place has been approved. Then a flag showing that this place is mainly for these people, with a QR code showing the expiry date.
Now, I like that again, because the way you have computerized all this. So how soon are you going to roll out your schooling? Because again, we need to get back on the street to reorientate, as it were, to teach people, particularly commercial road users, commercial traffic, transport.
Well, the advocacy, I believe that the advocacy will continue. We just started late this month.
Yes.
And we'll continue throughout March. But while we continue advocacy, we are also doing some other works to roll out parking system. It's not just advocacy and
yes, and I see back.
No. So we are doing the lane marking, we are doing the signages for Ikeja and VI, and as soon as that is finished, we go on the streets and said, okay, this is how you should park henceforth from these places.
Yes.
And our people are on the road as well to pilot you, to ensure compliance, and if you prove stubborn, we'll enforce.
Okay. Incidentally, Engineer Motosh is the Director of Operations for the authority, so you know exactly what. But are you not wary that Nigerians, especially Lagosians, are very, very difficult to manage?
Well, it's part of the challenges we've been facing. It's not new. We are not new in the business, so we know how to handle it. Some people, if you don't, they thrive in chaos, and if we don't give them punitive measures, they will not relax and do the right thing. But we also have, a good percentage of people who will actually follow.
Compliant. Okay, we are compliant. All right, so let's hope that Lagosians are going to be, not Lagosians, Nigerians will be compliant to know that Lagos State, you can't just park anywhere. If you park anywhere, you get parked. Okay, now, something that we also may want to look at would be the fact that during holidays, especially public, we have gatherings everywhere and all that. So, and that can be very, again, difficult to regulate. Now, would you roll out some kind of measure to contain what is going to be happening?
I will tell you something. I will tell you, not a story, but something that happened at Ikeja City Mall.
Recently?
Well, not quite recently, but about 2 years ago. And well, it was during the Christmas, and a lot of the parking inside is freed up.
Yes.
So people start parking
On the
outside.
street.
And that one generates a lot of traffic for people coming in or going out. So there are a lot of arrests, are made by Lagos State Traffic Management Authority.
Yes.
That's LASPA. No, we dealt with these cases, and I think the problem is with the Keja City Mall, because they have so big parking space, and they left it like that.
Poorly managed.
They know that in this period there's going to be
Heavy traffic.
So what I expect them to do is to take a section of that land and build a multi-level storage parking system, and that will have solved the problem.
Foresight.
Exactly.
So, okay, but I like what you have just said. But won't the authority, therefore, not be proactive by showing some development that should, therefore, be envisaged? I mean, wouldn't you correct, such slacks?
Well, now that now that Lagos State Parking Authority has been established, these are the kind of advices we are going to give to a lot of developments. Firstly, their parking lot will need to be redesigned. Secondly, we need to advise them that, well, you have quite a big space. Why can't you develop it into a multi-level storage, a car park, and we can even train their
Personnel.
Their personnel, in controlling the traffic around that area.
Okay, that is, I like that. That's very proactive. And so, Engineer Motosho is telling us that the future is not so bleak. When we see some challenges and problems, we can actually find solutions to those challenges and problems. Now, we are looking again, typically, Lagos is supposed to be the smart city. And so how would your authority, therefore, synchronize with the theme, the theme for Lagos, as explained by His Excellency? How you...
Well, if you look at the theme, you will see that transport and traffic management is key to that theme. In getting along with the 21st
century.
Firstly, we intend to manage the parking, in a way that will be beneficial to the people and, of course, to the state. We, as an authority, have the mandate to do that, and we intend to do it properly.
Okay, again, the telephone lines, let's quickly run through that again, because this conversation will not be over until we have had some kind of interactions with all of you as members of the public. Engineer Motosho already has placed responsibility on your table. If you don't ask him and you get caught on the street, don't blame Engineer Motosho because he has tried to explain to you what you need to do. Voice call 07016272025 is dedicated. Make your phone call now to Engineer Motosho so he can explain things to you, or SMS us 08063508434. SMS us right now. Send your query or your question or your own comment and let Engineer Motosho deal with that. Now, is it possible for us to visualize? Maybe you're going to run it on your social media, handles or platforms to visualize how some of these things will be implemented. Roads that are already marked for parking, roads that are already marked for no parking, locations that are already designed. Are you going to be able to do that?
Well, already we have a website.
Can you say that again, please, sir, so that people can understand?
The website
is a dedicated website.
Yeah, the website is www.laspa.lg.gov.ng.
Say that again, sir. www.laspa. Yes.
LASPA.
Yes.
.lg.
Yes.
.gov.ng.
Great.
Now, if you go into this website, we see most of the things I'm talking about there. How you can pay for parking.
Yes.
How be directed to parking lots. the policy of the authority is there,
and the guidelines.
And the guidelines, the regulations are there, and even the violations are there. And some of the researches that we've done is put there.
Oh, some of the knowledge,
yes,
information, yes.
Yes. So so many other things,
on that website.
On that website. Yes.
Okay, now can you actually interact with the authority on that website? Can you ask questions? Would you be able to get some kind of responses?
Of course,
from staffers?
we have an inquiry desk, we have a customer desk, where you can call, and then you get response.
Okay.
Now there's a space also that you can send messages to us, and we will actually respond to you.
Oh, great. Now, that's great. That's again very proactive. One thing again that I need to clear from you before, I don't know why my telephone lines are not getting through. I think we have challenges there, because I know a lot of Lagosians want to know exactly where this would lead to. Now, when somebody comes on your website, for instance, and he wants to book a parking space, can he do like an advance, like, oh, I want to book for a whole year, I want to do this, is that possible?
You mean
so you can lock it up?
No. We can't do that.
Yes.
Let me tell you the difference between on-street parking and off-street parking. No, on-street parking is not forever. It's not for the whole day. It's just for some few hours. Even not more than 2 hours, you can park on the road.
Oh, great.
See, on the road, on street parking is not our main thing. We have rules that can accommodate, but it's not meant, especially in VI, in Ikeja, in Surulere, in Lagos Island. Those what I call the location A.
Yes.
The top locations.
Yes.
You cannot park on the road for more than 2 hours.
Because
I won't say you may not be able to park on the road for more than 2 hours. I said I can't say you cannot.
Not, yes.
No, because if you park for the 3rd hour, your fare regime becomes
higher.
If it is 200 naira, for example,
per hour.
Per hour.
By the time you get to the 3rd hour,
400 hours for 2 hours. By the time you come for the 3rd hour, it may not be 600 again. Wow. It might be 1,000. Wow. This is to discourage people
from just abandoning
from on-street parking and use off-street parking, where you can park the whole day as long as you can pay. And again, it also discourage people, private owners, to take public transport to wherever they are going.
Okay, all right. So what Engineer Motosho is trying to let us see is how to urbanize the way we actually interact in Lagos. Now, but how about those who are travelers, foreigners, visitors, those who do not know some of these things that you are talking about? How do we get to address them anytime there's an influx into the city?
In the first place, that's why I said the routes will be marked. So even if you are coming anywhere within the country
for the first time,
you know that you shouldn't park here. You understand? That's number one. Now, to pay, when you now park properly, to pay for it, you may not, because we are going to have a dedicated parking card. You can
electronic card.
Electronic card. You can have, you can pay through QR codes.
Yes.
You have your app.
Yes.
Yeah?
You can download onto your phone.
Yes, exactly. And so on and so forth. So now, if you are coming as a traveler or a visitor into Lagos State, you don't have any of this, or you don't need to have it. So what we do is this, we have parking agents.
Wow.
That you can now give them your ATM, pay, to give them cash. They will sort it out. But we are not taking cash from
anybody.
You understand? So it is clear. But you can pay them. You can pay the parking agents.
These agents are approved and they are assigned.
And that's one of the things. That's one of the objectives of the parking this parking system.
Yes.
It generates job
for
employment
people.
for people.
Okay, now, the important thing again that I'm sure the Goshians and Nigerians would want to clarify, on your website, for instance, would you be able to introduce your agents to visitors, to those who are coming on your website? To
as soon as we appoint those agents, we are going to actually, update our website.
Yes.
And anywhere you are in Lagos State, you know that there's an agent here.
Yes, in Badagry, for instance, in Ikurudu.
In fact, you don't even have any problem with that. You go on Surulere.
Yes.
You want to park on the road or off streets, and you don't have any of these electronic cards or whatever to use, and then you have only cash. I mean, the agents will approach you, because they are actually doing it for their own benefit. It's like,
it's like an income generating activity,
so
yes. Okay. Now, it's good for us again to know that strategically what the parking authority is trying to do is to make sure that we can navigate through Lagos State, healthily and safely. Now, another thing again that some people may look at to be emergencies. So suddenly you're driving, your car develops a problem and all that, and then you need to park somewhere. Now, what happens? Now, they can see no parking, and yet the car is already in a. So what do we do here?
I just want to tell the general public that
yes.
We are not out to munch out or
make life difficult for yes.
Give it draconic
management of the situation.
So we look at the situations, and it's considered. Now, if your car breaks down genuinely in a wrong place, we help you take it to where you can get it repaired. No offense, no violation. And so that we will allow other people to park properly, and we will not disturb the free flow of traffic.
Okay, well, Engineer Matosha,
yes.
Thank you so very much. I would have said that maybe we need to call in the Alafia for you to join us in this conversation, but you have already handled it brilliantly. So we must commend you for that.
Thank you.
Now, for Nigerians, we have said to you that the conversation is never over on this show, so go to not only our own social media lines, but also go on to LASPA social media, so that website, so that you can continue with the conversation and get yourself updated on what is happening, so that you don't get into a default mode. Thank you for watching, and until next week again, it's great having you with us. Thank you, and bye for now.
It's legal to stand with NTA and stand against rape and rapists.
Save me, save my children. I stand with NTA. I stand against rape and rapists.
I stand with NTA. I'm a star.
I stand with NTA. I'm a star.